Governor, last week you were up at State College again to meet the Board of Trustees at Penn State, and there were 3 new members recently elected by the alumni. And, of course, you got a chance to meet them as well. One of them is Anthony Lubrano. He has been one of the most vocal critics of the firing of Joe Paterno, and he has on numerous occasions pointed the finger at you. And he was a guest on Radio Smart Talk on WITF here in Harrisburg. And he had this to say to host Scott Lamar, and I want you to listen to this, and we'll give you all the time you need to respond to it.
When was this?
This was just yesterday.
Okay.
Okay.
ESPN The Magazine did a piece a few weeks ago describing Governor Tom Corbett's role in the firing of Joe Paterno. The article said that Corbett was the driving force behind Paterno's termination and quoted at least one person who said the governor seemed to relish his part in this. Governor Corbett responded by saying the article was full of errors, although he or his administration haven't elaborated a whole lot. They've cited a few, but not all of those errors that they were talking about. In your opinion, was Governor Corbett the main player in ousting Joe Paterno?
Well, first, let me say that the governor had an opportunity to respond to that story. Don Van Natter, on numerous occasions, requested meetings with the governor, and the governor declined. So I found it interesting, his response well after the fact. And do I think he played a significant role? Yes.
All right, let's fact-check it first of all. Don Van Natter was the author of that ESPN The Magazine piece that was referred to there. Did he make numerous requests to have you comment on that?
First off, he made a few requests just prior to us leaving on the trade mission. And Kevin Harley, my communications director, told Mr. Van Natter, as I am told because I did not talk to him, that I wasn't available right then. I was going on the trade mission. I would be available when I came back. Once I was back, there was no request at that time, to my understanding. We would have been happy to meet with him because I have to tell you, to talk about that article, and I have to be careful because there's a gag order out there. That article is so full of mistakes, misimpressions, and you know, Mr. Lubrano is reading that article. I can understand. I believe that article was misleading, and I believe it was misleading for a number of different reasons, and there's some kind of motive there. I was not the driving force there. If it goes back to the call the night that Mr. Paterno was the coach was fired, I barely said anything contrary to what one of the board, an unnamed board member said, who later admitted that or said that I said that. I did not. And if you ask the rest of the board, they will confirm that, starting with Mr.
Surma, yeah, John Surma from U.S. Steel,
who was leading the meeting and who was acting as the acting vice president and who was directing everything in that meeting. I listened because, first off, I came into the phone call a little bit late. I listened, and the discussion was ongoing. It dealt with both Spanier and Mr. Paterno, and then there was a vote taken, an oral vote taken. There were no objections to it. The only thing I said, and I will stand by this, and I have many witnesses to that, was before they voted, I said, you have to remember the children. Now, the way that article was written, and I'll just give you one prime example. When somebody said I was relishing in that article, I believe the gentleman said, or the writer said that there was a Penn State professor nearby who overheard conversations going on at the table, and I was relishing in this fact. Number one, I never relished in the fact. Two, I don't talk about those kind of cases at the table. But three, and what really is infuriating to me, there was a journalism professor from Penn State sitting at my table. Former newspaper reporter for the Philadelphia Inquirer who used to report here in Harrisburg, Russ Eshelman, somebody who I knew pretty well, who joined us for dinner. He was contacted by Mr. Van Natter, told Mr. Van Natter, and this is what's reported to me, that never happened. And Mr. Van Natter chose not to use that in his article. I think that certainly would have affected the tone of the article. And to give you just another idea, from the very beginning, if you read that article, it said I resigned 6 days before I became governor. You all know it was more like 6 minutes. And so sloppy journalism is fueling other people. So when it comes to Mr. Lubrano, I know Mr. Lubrano. He's been a financial supporter to my campaign, I think for Attorney General. I saw him. You probably saw the picture of me with him. We had a very pleasant, short conversation. And I think when he learns the facts, once he's a member of the board, he's probably going to have a difference of opinion from his prior opinion, because you need to have the facts. But there's certain times we can't talk in public about them.
His number one priority is to get the Board of Trustees to issue an apology to the Paterno family. Is that warranted?
I'm not going to get into the details of that. I mean, I want to talk to Mr. Lubrano. I'm not going to speak on behalf of the Board of Trustees. I've told people before I regret the way it went about, but I'm not going to get into the details of the vote.